up, done an update on this thing. This is an 02 7.3 Excursion that I picked up. It is a hot mess. Got the interior gutted out of it. Everything is just sitting in here. Showing 338 on the odometer. Oh, amazingly, I got a full tank of fuel. The light was on a minute ago. That's jacked up. Gotta put that on the fixed list. Gave me a fight to get it running. Been sitting for months. Now that it's running, it actually doesn't sound too bad. Believe it or not. This thing is a hot mess. Gonna be doing some rehab on it here pretty quick. Got a nice door hickey. That's lovely. Paint is toast on the top. Got some aftermarket exhaust on this thing. It is complete though. Gonna be interesting. I think it has a fuel leak. Well, I don't know, it did. I don't see anything gushing right now. Got no rust to speak of. Southern Texas truck. Little surface on the frame, and that's about it. Going to be go through some mechanicals and see what all's wrong with this thing. I can't believe it's running so smoothly right now. It's amazing. Check engine light's not on. It does work. It was on when I started it. Airbag light's on. Got no ideas. Fuel gauge is going to be going kind of goofy, obviously. The AC does not work currently. It all runs, but the compressor doesn't turn on. It's got unfortunately the electronic climate control nonsense. I don't really know much about that myself. Seats are pretty toast. This thing has a sunroof. It's not factory. There is no such thing on an Excursion. Hang on, let me turn this noisy gate off. Sorry. There is no such thing as a factory sunroof on an Excursion. Either dealer add-ons or, completely third party. Either way, they're aftermarket, and of course it's leaking. It's according to the previous owner, it's off the track, which does look to be so. You can see over there, it's hanging low. That's going to be one of my big to-do items, is what I'm going to do with that. I don't know if I'm going to see, it's loose in the track. I don't know if I'm going to try to fix it in place. I've even considered putting a piece of steel over that thing and welding it in place. I really don't know what I'm going to do. I don't want to mess with the sunroof. The headliner had been wet. It was absolutely garbage. Threw it in the trash. What was left of it, at least. Middle seat's pretty toast. Back seat's actually not bad. Can't really see much of it, but it's got a couple tiny little cracks in it. That's it. All the interior, I ripped all this out of here. I actually had the carpet out of this thing. The carpet was a hot mess. I have a previous video about this thing. I actually dyed the carpet. Turned out pretty decent. Way better than the nasty stain tan that was in here. And way better than spending $1,500+ on another set of carpet. That's nowhere near the quality of the OEM, the thickness from everything I've read. Plus $1,500+. I would say $1,500 for just the front piece. That doesn't even include the back. Got some, I don't know, discount tire, aftermarket wheels on there. Unfortunately, I'd rather have stock ones. I have no idea how old the tires are. They're some 285-ish maybe. They don't match, but they're round and hold air. That'll be good enough for my purposes. No real damage. This is the one I had some previous videos on that I repaired this window on. This is the one that the window had come unglued at the front. Up here on that hinge and that hinge. It was, when I got it, the window was hanging down like this, hanging by the rear opener assembly. And did a big not a big video series, but a couple videos, a little bit of video series on that, resealing all that. And that's as far as I got with it. The carpet is just sitting in there. I just threw it back in, and then all the interior is obviously just sitting in there. But it's all there. Seats are just sitting in here. This seat's actually not horrible. That middle seat's pretty toast. I'm sure that that's gotten wet. See, this is what's left of the sunroof assembly. So here's your drains that are, so the sunroofs typically sunroofs leak. Even on my Honda cars, my foreign cars have sunroofs, and they leak into the track assembly, and then the track assembly lets it drain down underneath the vehicle. I mean, I've been in a Cadillac one time that we were in pouring down rain, and you could hear water running, and we opened the little courtesy shade, whatever that thing is that you manually open, and you could see water dripping up in the corners, but it goes into the gutter and then goes outside, and that's apparently normal. I don't know. I'm not a sunroof fan. You know, the mechanism and all that's there. I may spend a little bit of time trying to figure out what's going on with it, but more than likely, if I could figure out a way to fix the sunroof in place and keep the drains functional to where when the sunroof leaks like sunroofs do, and then the drains would allow it on all four corners to drain down below the vehicle, good enough for me. We'll see. Roof paint's toast, obviously. South Texas has been sitting out in the blazing sun. It's black. You know, paint's probably 180 degrees on a nice hot sunny day. Just like asphalt. Leave a mark on you. This thing fought me. I was just about to give up. It fought me hard getting it started. Don't really know what's up with that. We'll see how that plays out. It was almost like it's starving for fuel. And I did put 10 gallons in it when I had it on the trailer hauling it home. So it's got some fuel in it. Now, what's going on after that? You know, the fuel pump could be, I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. First thing in order, though, is a bath. This poor thing has been neglected, and it is filthy. And I can't even hook the batteries up without getting filthy in this thing. It's the gloves. I believe this is South Texas Outfitters. Mongo, Jingong, big-ass bumper on there. That's probably going to be staying. The plan is to get this thing running and driving and sell it. This is one of 4 Excursions that I own, and I don't need another one laying around. I've got my nice one sitting in the garage, and I just moved Oscar out there. Just got through doing a little thermostat action on that thing. So yeah, don't need this one laying around. Anyway, we'll see. More to follow. Howdy. This is going to be a bit of an update on the progress on Cole, the Excursion that I'm working on. So I had some fuel leak issues. This is the fuel pump from underneath the driver's seat. Goes in that bracket with the insulator pad thing. Pretty sure this is not an OEM fuel pump. I don't think so. Usually the Ford ones have a FOMO code tag on them. This one doesn't. This was disgustingly nasty. I cleaned it up some. So what I found was this is the fuel line that goes up to towards the engine on the discharge side of the fuel pump, and someone had smashed this. It was all egg-shaped. I had to pry it open, and it's got those spring lock connectors that you use, a little plastic release tool in there. But somehow or another, I don't know how you do this. They had shoved this thing past the lock. This is a locking ring, and they had this collar was touching this banjo nut kind of looking thing, part of this nipple that goes in there. It was all the way smashed up against that. And another reason that I think that this is not a factory Ford fuel pump On the factory ones that I have, this entire nipple is longer. It sits like this locking ring is further out this way. This whole thing is out this direction. And when this hose is sitting on here, it's way out like this when it is locked in place. It's like out this long. So that tells me this probably is not a factory fuel pump. And then, I don't know how, somehow or another, this is the intake side of the pump. From the tank, they had this snapped off, cut off. I don't really know what, I don't know how that works, but they had a piece of like, you know, 5/16 or 1/4 inch or whatever fuel line, suction line from the tank, and it was just sitting on here with a hose clamp barely on there, and just literally bumped it and it fell off. So what was happening is the fuel pump still runs. So when it would get fuel to the engine and pressurize the line all the way up to the fuel filter and all that business, the truck actually started and ran. It ran awful because it was sucking air in here, I'm sure. But then you'd turn the truck off and the pump would stop pumping and all the fuel would drain right back out the intake side because there was no seal there, if you will. So anyway, got a factory pump again. Had to replace this line. That's the old one. It goes all the way up to, you know, it's all these goofy bends. It goes up to the cross member-ish on the driver's side, kind of below the exhaust manifold. And the new one, of course, has the snap lock thing on here, and the nipple is longer. I don't have the factory intake part of the hose, but I was able to get on there with a good hose clamp, and I was able to yank on it pretty hard, and it's not coming off. It's not going anywhere, so it shouldn't be sucking air anymore. So let's do a bit of a status update on Cole's situation. So was waiting on those parts. They showed up here yesterday. Quite a bit of cleanup's been going on with this thing. Did get it started last night. See what we can make happen here in a minute. Hopefully it'll start and run, be okay. Got all this put back together, had the intercooler pipes off, tons of cleaning, straightened up a bunch of wiring that was all messed up. Got the air intake put back on it. There was some wiring down here that was a hot mess. Do need to plug that air intake sensor in. Always forget about those guys. That's back in its factory hole, like it's supposed to be. Changed the fuel filter. That was a mess in there. Ended up flushing that line out before I ever started it. I think that cap was leaking pretty good. The fuel filter was really old, nasty, disgusting thing. Quite a bit of wiring cleanup, if you will, around over here too. So I got a battery connection I need to fix. Got some batteries in it, and it actually started up and ran yesterday. So that was great to see. So let me get a tool and take care of this battery connection right quick, and we'll get the start video of this thing, see how it starts and runs. Okay. Take two. So anyway, update on this thing. I tried to do a start video here right quick. Make sure we don't have any fuel on the ground. Looks nice and dry. That's a good thing. Got some factory keys. Even got a, that's not a factory remote, but got keyless entry working. That's nice. Showing 338 on this thing. Let's see what we got here. We have a check engine light on. It was off yesterday. Had quite a bit of air in it yesterday. I still have some of that. We need to get out of there. Might have caused some misfires and things like that. I'll probably get it up and here, park it in the driveway a little bit. I got some cleanup to do underneath and disconnect the batteries for a little while, let it sit. Get it put back together, see if that check engine light goes out. I'll have to get a scanner. I don't have one yet. It's on the to-do list. Still got a bunch of interior work doing here. This thing is a hot mess. This is the one that has the sunroof. And it's, of course, leaking. So, hot mess in here. Everything is in the garage. Work in progress. Alright. Let's see if we can get our lovely old check engine light to go out here. Pretty long crank time. Yep, came back on. I'll have to start scanning that and find out what's going on with that. Obviously got some kind of fuel pressure issue, seems like. We'll see where we go from there. All right, progress update on coal here. Did a run-in video the other day. Seems to be okay. I don't think I've got any leaks. Nope. Looking good. Haven't really driven it much other than in the driveway here. Starting to work on this interior some. Obviously gutted at the moment. The biggest thing I'm having to address is this sunroof. Excursions did not come with sunroofs in the factory. So this is a aftermarket, years later, or a dealer add-on or something like that. And sunroofs leak, of course, and cause problems. So sunroofs by design aren't necessarily completely sealed between the glass and the rubber gasket. This one appears to be off the track. They had tape of some kind on here, some Beyond Gorilla tape. I mean, it was some Mongo strong stuff. Lots of goo everywhere. I've been working on getting off with the heat gun and all that. So, not a sunroof expert by any stretch, but I think my plan is going to be, I've gone through several different variations. Considered completely ripping it out of there, taking the rubber out and everything, getting a piece of steel and welding it up. I think that's going to be a big mess. It's going to warp the roof. I'm not a welder. Just a mess. Considered taking it completely out, putting a piece of steel up there and using the windshield polyurethane adhesive stuff and gluing it on there. That'll be a problem, I'm sure. I think what my plan is going to be at the moment is to get the glass back up in place on the track or whatever. I don't know anything about that. And lock it in place. And it sits in this tray. Let's see if I can get a little light on this. So there's a tray that sits here. And it's secured up here to the ceiling. And on all four corners, it's got drain hoses. There's two over there. Those go down the pillars. They go down the A pillars and down the C pillars over there. So what that's designed to do is when it leaks, not if, but when it leaks water, that catches that water in that pan and reroutes it to those drain hoses, and it goes and drips underneath the truck. No big deal. And I think that's the best I can hope for right now. I've got to access this motor mechanism. I don't know anything about it, but the glass is somewhat loose in the track. I think a little bit of play is expected, but that side is down a lot more than this side. It's all down about This side maybe 3/8 of an inch, that side 1/2 inch or more. So that's on the to tackle list. And then I can start putting the interior back together in this thing. Pulled all of that out of there so I had room to work. And I'm going to be addressing some stuff up here on the ceiling. I didn't want all that shit falling on my freshly dyed black carpet. So that's kind of where we're sitting today. Just catch up.